Before you go, have you all met? Have there been any meetings with the stakeholders that you've mentioned?
We have made progress over the recent years, particularly in regards to supporting the TEA grant applications. And we've had interaction at the staff level with Presidio Trust and correspondence with many of the stakeholders.
Okay. So where in your mind is there an issue here on moving forward? I mean, obviously, we've heard today about the problems, and we've also heard some of the solutions. So where in your mind is there an issue here? Why do you have plans? Do you think that the group is moving forward? Do they have plans of moving forward? Or the rest of the folks feel like there's a stalemate? What do you think?
Well, like I offered, like sit back at the table with all the stakeholders. If we're going to look at applications for funding, we should do that. We should look again at the overall share responsibility of what's flowing into the lake. There's only so much that transportation funds can do towards that, and most of that's been identified. But there's a lack of funds there. But beyond that, there's many other issues.
Well, Supervisor McGoldrick asked how much money has been identified so far. That you said that there is some money that's been identified that could go
Well, there were
towards.
T applications that were applied for, and I think the original one was approximately $650,000, which is a very small percentage of the need, even for the highway portion, if a diversion system is to be designed and built.
Is there money then in your budget for that kind of runoff that you would be obligated to deal with?
No projects are currently programmed, but we want to sit back at the table and see what we can do.
Good. All right. Thank you.
I have a couple of
I'm
questions.
sorry,
Just a moment. We have some more questions,
Yeah.
Supervisor.
No, if I may.
can I just follow up on that question?
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Just a quick- When you said, it was kind of vague what you just responded to the chair. What's the chance of getting some money in the next year? And is that $2 million more or less accurate?
Supervisor, that's a fair question. I don't have an answer yet.
Fair enough. I just want to make sure we have that discussion because
It depends on the scope of the project. In the past, the scope has been anywhere from $2 to $4 million, just focusing on the drainage system,
Yeah.
not focusing on the dredging or any other areas outside the highway.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to, thank you. Excuse me, Supervisor.
I am, Supervisor Maxwell did touch on it, but just to sort of hone in on it a little bit closer, but does Caltrans have a position on its level of responsibility? I mean, I know that, and we'll ask the same questions of the Presidio Trust, and I certainly, heard what you said about Caltrans is not the only, I guess, entity or body that might be leading to the toxicity levels of Mountain Lake, but I'm curious to know what Caltrans thinks that their position is and what their level of responsibility might be.
Well, typically in the past, we've approached this similar to other highway sections, even along lake shores where drainage is impacting the lake based on the amount of acreage. And so I'm not saying that we have a formal position that we need to formulate, because to look at the drainage system again, to look at treatment facilities or the outflow, we've got to put more energy into that with the team.
Okay. So are there any plans currently or in the works to divert the runoff?
We do not have a program project that's in design
Okay.
to change the drainage system at this
But there is a recognition from Caltrans that it's a problem?
certainly recognition to sit down and talk about it.
Does Caltrans believe, though, that there's runoff going into the lake?
Oh, certainly. There's
Okay.
10 acres of runoff going into the lake.
And how long has Caltrans known about it?
Well, the drainage system was set up when the original roadway was completed in cooperation with the Army. So as far as the concerns regarding the lake, I mean, it's been a number of years that the conversation has been going on regarding applications for funding.
Okay. I guess, I mean, the money is one aspect of it, which my colleagues very aptly brought up, but I'm also trying to understand really, where Caltrans is coming from in terms of just, I guess, programmatically. I mean, is there a recognition that this is a problem? I mean, we certainly see it as one. I want to say thank you for offering to sit down at the table. I'll conduct the meetings myself so that we make sure we have, all people present from the City, Park Service, Army, Presidio, Transportation Authority, Presidio Restoration Advisory Board. We've reached out to Assemblywoman Ma and Leno. We've also reached out to Senators Migden and Yee, and they all know that this is going on and that this is a concern. We're hoping to pull them into the meeting as well. I think it's pretty clear that it's probably time to sit down with a group that encompasses, that truly encompasses Mountain Lake Park and try and figure out where the money's going to come from. But at the same time, when we all sit down to talk about it, we have to be cognizant of what our own responsibilities are. From the city level, I'm worried about the fact that children and animals are still playing in the water. There's certainly, we should probably look at Rec and Park and make sure that we haven't been doing anything that would help in any way to lead to some of the toxicity levels in the park. And so that's where I would be coming from, and I would hope that Caltrans would have a clear understanding of where they were coming from, as well as the Presidio Trust and the Army, in terms of responsibility for what might be going on. Am I making sense?
Oh, absolutely. And we will take responsibility for our share of it and work to find a solution overall, not just for the highway.
Okay. Thank you.
I have another question. There are other lakes and other roads and highways, and are you all then, as you build new roads and highways, are you looking at situations like this? Are you continuing to drain off into lakes like this, or is there another way that you're doing it now that we know that there are problems with it?
Good question.
We do have a number of different environmental solutions around the state, depending on the type of runoff, type of contaminants, type of treatment facilities available. So we can apply some of that background from the department and bring it to the table.
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. McElhaney. One more question. Tell me again, when was this built? What year was that?
It was opened in 1941.
And that's when the drainage was built into the lake?
As far as I know, there have been no significant drainage changes since 1941.
Since 1941.
Yes, because the original plan, in cooperation with the Army, was to be sure that if the lake flowed high, that it would be able to cross back under the highway as an overflow relief area, and that the drainage from the Presidio could flow under the highway into the lake.
Is Caltrans worried at all about, and I'm going to, another question for the Presidio as well, but of contaminating Lobos Creek?
Well, if I haven't looked at those studies, but I'd certainly be glad to look at those.
Okay. All right.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, we look forward to teaming up with the Presidio and all the stakeholders.
Thank you, Mr. McElhaney. I certainly